Hello. Good morning to all of you and welcome to this special session under the series Quality of Life and Reading, which Center for Publication Ethics and Department of Library Science jointly organizing. 3 lectures we have conducted. This is 4th lecture, and we have with us Nandini Nair from Hyderabad. She is author. She is not working in a university, but she is children's book writer and author, very well famous author, and she is a recipient of several awards for her books. So let me introduce her and then we will start today. She is going to talk about how quality of life changes when we start reading in children. And she is expert in that. We earlier conducted her lecture online, and now we decided to have offline. So yesterday, some of you have attended her lecture regarding what kind of different literature is available for children and who are the different publishers. आज त्या बोलल्या त्या मराठीमध्ये त्या महाराष्ट्रीयनच आहे तुझ्या त्यामुळे त्या मराठीमध्ये तुझ्याशी बोलतील. मी थोडक्यात त्यांची ओळख करून देते ना आपण पुढे जाऊया. नंदिनी नायर इज अवॉर्ड विनिंग ऑथर ऑफ ओव्हर 90 बुक्स. त्यांची खूप सुंदर वेबसाईट आहे nandininair.com आणि त्याच्यावर सगळी पुस्तकं त्यांनी दिली आहेत. .in nandininair.in त्याच्यावर सगळ्या पुस्तकांची यादी आहे आणि त्या खूप वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे कोर्सेस कंडक्ट करतात. म्हणजे शेक्सपियरवरती त्यांनी काढलं होतं. सुट्टी मुलांना अशा प्रकारच्या लिटरेचरबद्दल त्या ऑनलाईन वर्कशॉप्स करतात आणि खूप शाळांमध्ये त्या जातात ऑल ओव्हर इंडिया. all parts of India she goes and conduct workshops for students and especially parents also, because what her suggestion is very correct that we need to involve parents also when we talk about children and their reading habits or their reading, how to tell them what are the effects of reading in your life. So she is an award-winning author of 90 books for children of all ages. Her books have been published by various Indian publishers like Pulika, Karni, Amar Chitrakatha, Scholastics, Coffee, HarperCollins, Pratham, Eklavya and others. Her international publishers include Oxford University Press, UK, Pakistan, France, Francis Bacon and Tricycle Press. In addition, Nandini has a regular contributor to iconic children's magazines like Twinkle, Dimdiva and children's magazines and newspapers like the Hindu, etc. She is a trained teacher and has worked on textbooks at schools and university level. Some of her books are also included as a textbook in some of the schools. So What Shall I Make was named as an outstanding book by United States Board on Books for Young Readers. Rano's picture, What Shall I Make? Woodman's photo, The House of 14 Cats, featured in a list of books recommended by CBSE. Her books have been on the Parag Honors list, Mini Questions in 2021 and sometimes Mama, sometimes Papa in 2022. Her book, Are There Bunshops in the Jungles of India and Other Secret Stories from History, won the Vinod Kanoria Award in 2024. खूप वेळ न घेता मी त्यांच्याकडे माहीत देते. नंदिनी. Yes, one more. Sorry, I want to felicitate you. Sir. This for you. And sort of position myself here so I can see both sides. So thank you all. So thank you all for the very warm welcome you've given me in Pune and in Vidyapeeth. So the introductions both yesterday and today talked about me as an author. But I am here to tell you that long before I was an author, I started life as a reader.
And my reading journey started from the time when I was around 6 years old. And I think that since I'm here to talk to you about why children must read, the first, reason is that children who read definitely have a greater felicity with language. They are able to express themselves better. They are able to say what is in their minds. This doesn't mean that every child who reads becomes a writer. No. But if you look at writers, you will rarely find a writer who does not read. You have to read a lot in order to think about what you think and what you want to, write about and how you want to write about. So that I think would be the first reason why children should, must, definitely ought to read. But I am going to give you other reasons, and I hope I can ensure that you leave this lecture convinced that every child that you know should be reading books. So I'm going to go back a little bit, to my own childhood when like I said, I started reading. And the first thing that I read was a children's magazine, which was Champak, which is still in publication. It started in 1969 in Hindi, I think, and then came to English around 1975. And Champak was this, I think, fortnightly magazine with little stories. And what happened after that was that in those days, because publication for children was not yet a formalized, there wasn't a structure to it. The two publishing houses that you did have were the National Book Trust, that's the NBT, and then you had the Children's Book Trust, which is the CBT, and both of these are still in, very much continuing their publishing program. But I have to say that the books they brought out at that time, they were, they were interesting, I suppose, to someone like us who was starved of stories, but they were not exciting really, because some of the texts were things like biographies of famous leaders, famous freedom fighters, and there wasn't any grading. So it was not like, if you were a new reader, you read this. There was no L board in terms of reading like that. You just read whatever you got. So the only way that I could satisfy this urge to read was through the local lending library. And at that time, the author, the writer who was very popular was this British author named Enid Blyton. And Enid Blyton had been writing for many years. Fortunately for someone like me, she was very, very prolific. She'd written lots of books of different kinds. And these were set in England. These were set in an England which was, like maybe in the 1940s, 1950s. And so there were stories which were about children growing up in England, which had just been affected by a big war. That was the Second World War, which I discovered many years later. When I was reading it, I had no clue what this war was. It did not matter to me because what Enid Blyton's books did, they opened doors and windows into worlds I had not even known existed. Because, for example, one of the kinds of stories she wrote were boarding school stories. And I was so astounded at the thought that you can travel away from home and go live somewhere just to attend school. And for a long time, I dreamt very much of going to a boarding school. But I learned all about boarding schools because I read these books by Enid Blyton. Another set of stories that she wrote was, about fairies. In India now, fairies were not really a known thing. We knew about Rakshasas and, your Asuras and things like that. But what are fairies? What did they do? How did they live? What did they eat? These were things that Enid Blyton's words allowed me to understand. So the first thing that books did for me was to open doors and windows into worlds I had not known. So that is the first and primary reason why children must read, because they show you worlds that are far removed from your own. And now when I say this, it doesn't mean that all the books that your child reads should be about foreign lands. There are lands within our own country that we know nothing about. For example, a child living in a city does not know what it is like to live in a little village by the sea or to live in any kind of village. I still remember when my son was very young and he used to go to Kendriya Vidyalaya, and we went to Kashmir in the summer. And we were there looking at the view, and suddenly he spotted the KV uniform, which is very distinctive, white and blue. And he said, "Look, ह्यांची शाळा चालू आहे." And he felt so sorry for them that they have school in summer when he's enjoying vacation. Within the same country, in the same school system, he did not know that in Kashmir, because of the weather being good in summer, they do not have vacations then. They only have their long vacations in winter when it becomes difficult for them to go to school. And this is the kind of doors and windows that books can offer you to help you understand exactly what the other people are going through. If you look at history, okay, history also, how do we study it? We study it as a series of names. You ask any child to give you the names of some freedom fighters, they'll immediately rattle off 4 or 5. But what do you know about these historical figures? Do you know them as people? Do they become real people to us? No, they're just names. They're just names to be remembered when you're writing an essay or you have to give a speech. And what books can do, for example, if you have a book which is about one of these freedom fighters or about some famous scientist which talks about their childhood, how much real it becomes when you understand what struggles they have faced. How much real it becomes when you know, for instance, that Rani Lakshmi Bai, she wasn't born into a royal family and then she married, she became a queen. It looked like a fairy tale story, right? A poor girl or from like a not so well off family marrying the king. But what were the challenges she faced in order to become that? This is something that books can give you. So, books can open doors and windows, not merely in your own city, country. They can open windows into new worlds, into the past. They can, if you give children, science fiction to read, they can also give you ideas about what the future is likely to be. And they can allow them to travel in these worlds, learn about these worlds, and come back richer simply because they have read all of these things. So, this is, like I said, the first reason why children really should read. The other thing that is a very important reason is, again, I'm going to go back a little bit into my own life. So, of course, we were reading Enid Blyton, and Enid Blyton was so distant for us. If I tell you, if you go online now and look for Enid Blyton and you get a book cover, you'll see the way her name is written. It's a very distinctive, like a signature. We didn't even know what is this name Enid. We had never heard it before. We had no clue what it was. It didn't matter. It was years later that we found out that she was a woman. We had no idea whether it's a male or a female. What mattered was the world that she was letting us into through her words. And then, when I was around 10, my father picked up this book and brought it home for us. And it was called The Hidden Treasure. And The Hidden Treasure was such an exciting title because that's what, Enid Blyton also did write about. But what excited me the most was the children that I saw portrayed on this cover. They looked just like me. They were brown skinned, they had black hair. The clothes the girls were wearing, like the clothes I and my friends wore. And then I opened it and I found that here are characters who are called Ravi, and they are called Dinu, and they are called Minu, and they are calling their mothers Ai Baba and their relatives Kaka Kaku. It was like somebody had held up a mirror to my life. I was seeing myself in that book. And this is the second, and I think very, very important reason why children must read books. Because why? Why do we watch the serials that we watch? We watch them because we see us in them. Right? We see our stories there. They connect with us because we feel somebody is seeing my pain and has made a movie about it. Yay, my pain is real. I am real. Now imagine what it is like to grow up as a child who doesn't know or who's being, bothered and then is seeing their story told. So for someone like me, who had grown up reading Enid Blyton till that point, and I know how it impacted me. It was years later that I realized. I always thought that people who lived in England, whose names were things like Julian and Anne and George, only they could have adventures. I thought these kids who ate food which was so different from our food. They were eating sandwiches. Every evening they had a meal called tea in which they had cake. I mean, for us, cake was once a year on your birthday if you were lucky. And here were these children eating this alien food. And really, food matters so much when it comes to looking at a different culture. And for me, I always thought that only such children can do such exciting things. We can never do it. But what this book, this Hidden Treasure did was, it told me, listen, it doesn't matter if your name is not, Anne or George. You can also do exciting things because here were children whose names were like the names of my relatives or my friends. They were wearing clothes like we wore. They were eating the food we ate. For them, the fun food was gulab jamun and puri bhaji. Wow. I mean, it was such a major connect. And I think that, okay, I have to tell you who the author is. So the author of this book is a lady called Shashi Deshpande. Some of you might have heard her name because she's known today as the writer of feminist fiction. But very few people are aware that she actually started her journey as a children's writer. And you know why she wrote these books? Because her sons thought that all fun things, just like us, they thought all fun things and all exciting things only happen in England. They can't happen in India. So she told them, I'll show you. I'll write a book which shows this. And she actually wrote books which were set in India, which were set in very small towns in India. The Hidden Treasure is set in a village, and it is about these children who go to visit their kaka kaku and live in the village, and there they realize that they had a relative who went to fight in the 1857 war, and he left a treasure behind, and they find it. Another book is set again in a small town where Shashi Deshpande herself grew up, Dharwad, which is, she doesn't name it, but it's a little university town and they have an adventure. Only the third book is in Bombay, but it was enough for me to know that here were these children who were like me, who were having these adventures. So there are other ways in which we see ourselves, other ways in which books can show the mirror and make us feel like we are seen. If you look at books, you know, one is that the race that you belong to is rarely portrayed. That is why if you see that in the West also, the children's books published in India are very popular. Because children growing up there are only reading stories about, you know, white-skinned children, blonde-haired children, and they feel like this is not about me, who are eating bread again. So they don't feel that connection. The other thing is that if you look at movies, if you look at books, you will find that certain kinds of people are always marginalized. If you look at people who are too thin, who are too fat, who are dark skinned, who wear glasses, or who are physically challenged, they don't feature in these books at all. So what about children like these who want to read stories, who want to feel seen? Books give them the mirror, because otherwise life is just pushing them to the margins and not even taking any charge, or providing them any kind of feeling that their stories matter. So books actually manage to hold up the mirror and show you these kinds of things. Of course, culturally, when you think of it, you know, people will do ask that how can you connect with a book which is so distant in culture, like books which are written outside the country. Did you come across any problems there? Did the words, cultural references matter? Yes, you know, when you're reading about, when I was reading this Enid Blyton, for example, I remember that I came across this word jackdaw. I never read this word. I knew Jack is the name of a boy, but what is this? Why is this additional word daw? So of course I went to my father and I asked him, what does this mean? And he was equally puzzled. And there is a school of thought which says that children should stop reading at this point and open a dictionary and find out what it means. I'm sorry, I'm not a person who believes in that, simply because I have actually met children who told me, you know, all our teachers used to tell us that you look up dictionaries. Ma'am, then, you know, the reading gets boring, it gets interrupted because you're constantly looking up the meanings of words. So what I did and what I think really worked for me was, I read that section again and again, and I soon figured out from the context, okay, jackdaw is a kind of bird. From the description that Enid Blyton wrote, I also figured out it sounds very much like a crow because of the noise it makes. I also decided that, you know what, that bird doesn't really matter to the story. She's just used it as a description. So it's not going to come in the way I can continue reading. This is just an example, but there were other such words whose meanings I did not know. I personally did not consult dictionaries, and I feel that I'm much the richer in terms of my understanding of words because of that. Because what happens is you're looking at a word that is actually being used. It's not simply a dictionary listing of what is it, a noun, verb, adverb, doesn't matter. Do you know how to use it? When you understand the meaning from the context, you not only see it being used, you also get its various inflections. You understand, is it being used in a positive sense or is it a negative sense? And this understanding, which you have come to from yourself, from your own understanding, it stays with the child for years later rather than a dictionary listing. So these, you know, are the learnings that I have had from reading books. The fact that a book does open the, you know, doors and windows into new worlds for you to experience, and that it holds up mirrors for you. Now, when it allows you to travel into new worlds, what it does is, for that short period of time, you have exited your world. That is why children who really love to read, when they're reading, their mothers can be shouting, calling their names 10 times. They are so immersed in the book. And this was me. This was me in childhood. My mother has so many stories to tell of how she would keep calling out and we would just not hear her, simply because my brother and I were immersed in the words that we were reading. At that time, we were not children growing up in India. We were actually on that adventure with those children and enjoying what they were going through. So what this does is, it not only develops the imagination of children, it develops a quality which I think is very rare and which is very necessary at the same time, the quality of empathy. Because you're actually walking in the shoes of that character at that time. You're feeling their pain, you're understanding what they're going through. And I think empathy is something that simply cannot be taught. It cannot be injected with a needle into children. It is like conscience. Some of us have a conscience. Something is telling us this is right and something is telling us this is wrong, stay away. Empathy goes beyond kindness, which is where you want to do something nice for someone. It goes beyond sympathy, where you're feeling sorry for someone. And it enters the realm where you're actually exiting your life. You're walking in the shoes of that character. And children who go through this, who understand this empathy, they're definitely far more imaginative. They are better people at, feeling the pain. And I feel very certain that these are the children who are going to make a difference to our world in the future. So, and I'm basing this on actual experiences. So I have a few books that have come out of my research into studies about animals. One of these was about the animals that the British captured in India and took to England to be exhibited there. And I have taken that book and other books. The other is this one, which is about animals that have been used in wars around the world. And when I have talked about this to children, I have not told them what they are to feel. I'm not letting them feel sorry for the animals. I just tell them what humans have done to animals. And at one particular school, so the last story in this, so this is based on actual events that occurred. And the last but one story is set in Burma in 1942-43, when the Japanese army had taken over Burma, and the British were afraid that from Burma they are going to now enter India and the entire Indian subcontinent would go over to the Japanese. So they made a team of very select soldiers who were dropped by air into Burma. And then they realized that they needed an animal for these soldiers to carry their supplies. So they decided on mules. The mules are the cross between the horses and donkeys, and they're very tough animals. So they collected these mules from all over North America, put them on a ship, and then they traveled all the way from America to Calcutta. Now from here, believe it or not, they were actually airlifted too. They were actually tied on boards and they were dropped by parachute into Burma, which is fine. Okay, so then the way people have written about it is saying, the mules were perfectly fine. They were not affected by this. Of course, they must have been affected. And then they started using them. The problem was that the soldiers had to be very, very silent because the Japanese soldiers were also there. So the British soldiers had to be very silent not to attract the attention of the enemy. And the mules, while walking through the quiet jungle, would suddenly let out a very loud bray, like a donkey's bray, very loud, very harsh, and very, very, something that could be heard for kilometers in that quiet jungle. And if one mule brayed, the others would. So the British soldiers were terrified. What if the Japanese came and found them? Do you know what solution they found to this? So this is where I ask children, can you imagine? They say, ma'am, they must have tied their mouths, they must have done this. I said, no. They actually carried out operations in the jungle and they cut the vocal cords off the mules. And when I say this, I actually had this experience in a school in Delhi in January, where the child sitting in the front row, she wasn't even aware, her eyes had filled with tears. And I said, you're upset, aren't you? And she sort of jumped up because she hadn't realized she was crying. And I said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. But I was very upset too, and I thought everyone needed to know this so that you would know what to do in the future. So now the reason I'm giving this example is to say that children do have the ability to put themselves in the shoes of that animal, to imagine what it must have felt like, to be snatched from a nice comfortable home in the jungles. Because the animals, I also talk about how the rhino was captured. the tiger cub was captured, the elephant calves were captured and taken all the way from India to England in the 18th century. And then they were displayed there, and people didn't know what to feed them. And they fed them all the wrong things, and how these animals died. So, all of these things, for that short period of time, I can see that the child is not the child sitting in a school in Delhi, but is thinking of the animal, is with the animal, and understands what the animal is going through. And this is what I mean by saying that books can open doors and windows. They can teach empathy in ways that we cannot even begin to imagine. And I'm very hopeful that those children who feel this sense of empathy will definitely grow up to be children who will, when the time comes to take a decision, this is what I tell them. I don't want you to go out and protest and say that what is happening with animals is wrong. It is wrong. But you know what? Even in your own society, there might be a time when they say, oh, dogs shouldn't be fed, or this shouldn't happen. I hope that you will think of the animals and the fact that animals don't have a voice, and you will remember these stories and become the voice of the animals. And I know that they are going to do it because I've had some very interesting discussions with these children. So reading books does give you that, sense of traveling with that other person, being in their shoes. It holds up a mirror, but it also sets you free to travel. These are two of the primary reasons why I think books should be read. And one of the things I find in today's day, lots of parents, when I do my sessions as an author, they come to me to find out how can we get children to read. And I find that increasingly, then they'll tell me, ma'am, there's a very nice app in which stories are being told. Okay, and they can listen to it. And in children's literature festivals, and there are lots of children's literature festivals being held now, there are always storytellers. Now, I just want to, add a kind of cautionary note here. Storytelling does not translate into reading. And I'm going to tell you why. But I'm going to start also by saying that I'm sure many of you will say, oh, but India has a great tradition of storytelling. Yes, our grandmothers did tell us stories. I agree. But they didn't tell us stories till you were adults, right? They told you stories when you were children. And those were for a specific purpose. They were passing down the story of the ages to you. And after that, you were to do what you had to do. Now, the reason why any app, even if it is telling you the stories from Indian mythology, or any storyteller who is doing it, why I personally think it does not translate into reading is, this is essentially a passive activity. The child is not involved in any way. Why? When you're watching television, okay? Now, each of us, when we read a book, we imagine the characters differently. If I ask you, how do you imagine Ravan? Or how do you imagine Shurpanakha? I will get 15, 20 or as many descriptions as there are people in this room. Because each of us is informed by what we went through. If I had a very nasty teacher in school, I might think, Shurpanakha must have looked like her. But now as an adult, I will think, Shurpanakha wasn't bad. She was just a girl in love. What was wrong with what she did? So I would probably imagine her as a much nicer, kinder person who somehow summoned her courage and to tell, express her love. What is wrong with it? Right? But what does the picturization of this do? It gives you only one version of Shurpanakha, and that is the version that the maker of that movie or that series is giving you. It's not your version. Alright, so each of us needs to have our own version of these things. The second thing is, it tells you what to think and feel. In the sense, when you have the music, if you're watching a movie and there's a scary moment coming, you know it 2 minutes in advance because the screen gets darker, the music becomes very ominous, there is this very tense quality to it. And you can be ready to shut your eyes and your ears, which is what I do if it's a scary movie. But that means I'm not reacting to it the way I want to react to. Someone is telling me what to do. And that is exactly what a storyteller is doing. That is exactly what the best app or the best whatever technological device is doing to your child. They're not allowing them to be free with the written word. That is why, a lot of people who have read the book, when they watch the movie, they'll say it's not as good as the book. You know why? Their imagination is actually better, but they haven't figured it out. Their imagination had built a world which was very different. And of course, the filmmaker only followed the world in his head. So the world they did is not going to match yours. Even these Harry Potter movies that children watch, those who have really read the books, if you ask them, they'll say, I didn't think that this character would be like this. I thought they would be taller. I thought they would be different. This is the reason. And this is why, if you really want your children to read, do not come in between the printed word that they are reading and the child. Let them engage with the printed word. Let them decide what they want to feel and what they want to think and how they want to imagine it. Okay? Which brings us to the next question. What is the best book for a child to read? Again, a question I'm asked frequently. And again, the answer is whatever suits your child. There are good books and there are bad books. Even for people who want to write, the advice I give is read whatever you can lay your hands on, because a good book will teach you how to write well. A bad book will teach you how you should not write. And I think even with books for children, you should let your child decide what they want. Give them the power to pick up a book that they think is speaking to them, that they like and they want to read. Yes, your role in this is going to be that you are going to take them to places where they can get these books, because books are not so easily available in India. You have to make an effort. You have to take them to libraries, bookstores, book exhibitions. Be willing to spend a lot of time and let them browse the books, look at what they want, and then get a sense of what they want to read. At the same time, you also have to watch to make sure that these books are not, they're not part of what I call lazy reading. So lazy reading is just like why we watch a television serial. Why do we watch a television serial? Same set of characters, one fight today, another fight tomorrow, a third fight the day after. And we know the comfort of knowing these characters, the comfort of knowing, oh, this Sasubai is going to do something nasty today. You can predict it, and that's why you go to watch it. Or this colleague is going to, trap this person. That lazy reading, that lazy sense of engaging with the text is very much there in children as well. So what they do is, you have nowadays lots of books which come in like series. So they'll go on reading. There are like hundreds of books. They know the same characters. They know each of them will have the same format, and they're very happy to do it. So as a parent, as an educator, guard against this. Make sure that they do not fall into the trap of taking the easy way of reading. Okay, help them find the right book by talking to them about what they want to read, what they are interested in, and not judging them on things that they like to read. So some children may actually want to know about wars, and you're like, wars are such bad things. Yes, they are bad things, but if you want to make sure there are no more wars, maybe you should introduce your child to wars, so they understand how stupid wars are and how stupid are the people who have started those wars. So yes, find them books which are well written, which give a correct sort of balanced view of what happened there, and then let them read this. Do not force your own opinions on them in terms of reading. In the sense, do not say, like I was telling the students yesterday, do not tell them, I read this book as a child and so you're going to like it too. No, children today are very different. Your child is very different. Every child is unique, and what they like is what sets them apart from the others. So let them find what they want to read. Don't go by lists that people have put out saying that 10 best books or 100 best books to read. It's fine if your child has not read a single book on that list. All books also come with an age that this book is meant for. Those are only guidance ages, and they are meant primarily to benefit the publisher and the bookseller. If you want your child to read, do not allow yourself to be sort of held by that and say, oh, but this book is meant for a 10-year-old and you're only 9.5, so I can't let you read it. No. Look at the emotional intelligence of your child, look at the reading levels of your child, and then decide what they should read. And if you look at it at a very basic level, how you can get your child to read, what parents and educators can do, is I think first of all, like I said, find the perfect book for your child, help them connect with it, and then look for more books along the same lines. The second, I think, is the most important at home, particularly, find a good place, create a good place for your child to read it. In India, when we buy books, somehow we think they're great treasures, which have to be locked up. All books are locked up in homes, and they're usually in these big cupboards which children cannot access. Keep them at places where children can access. Lots of parents again say that our children will tear the books. No, not if you show them how amazing these books can be. So keep them easily accessible. Introduce your child to the book. And when I say introduce, when I'm talking about this, I mean you can start with children as young as 8 months old. You can start reading to them. You can start sitting with them. So, which brings us also to the idea of the atmosphere in your house that you create. You cannot hope to fill the house with the noise of the television or the phone or whatever else and think that your child is going to read. No, the atmosphere is created by having books, by giving up your own television time. Believe me, it's not a sacrifice. It is the, it will be, these will be the best years you spend with your child if you're going to sit and read with them, because you're actually experiencing their childhood with them and read with them. For older children, maybe you can say, you can actually give a context. If they are reading something in school, you can say, this book gives you another aspect of it. Maybe you can sort of sell the book to them by talking about all the other things that they are going to learn doing this. Okay, so these are only some of the suggestions, but at the base level, what it comes down to is that reading, yes, scholastically your child will definitely improve. No two ways about it, because reading gives them a certain stillness. So they are definitely better students. They are able to write better. They are able to engage better with the printed text. And again, this shouldn't be a reason to read, but I know for many parents it is. You'll also find that when they come to older classes or when they go into higher studies, college and university, they do have to read big books, which they will skim through because their reading speed will be so amazing. Very practically, when you're traveling with a child who reads, you don't have to worry at all. You can buy them 4-5 new books or just bring 4 or 5 new old favorites, and your child is assured. I mean, they're engaged, they're not going to be bothering you. But again, what finally it does is to make your child a far better, a far more engaged individual who knows what is happening in the world around him or her, and a far more empathetic person, and therefore I think a better citizen of the world itself. So I think if you think of the quality of life that you're providing your child with, reading is definitely the best gift you could give your child, and it is something that all of us as parents and educators, we definitely should make our best efforts to try and get them into reading. So I'll stop here, and if any of you have any questions or want to take a look at the books, I have brought some of my books. So those who were not in the session yesterday, if you want to know what kinds of books are available in India today, I'm very happy to give you like a short introduction.
Just a very simple question, that when we talk about reading a book and then seeing the movie and then you have this, right? That
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
because like very often what happens is that the thought process which is shown in the book
Yes.
cannot be shown in a
It cannot be
movie.
translated. Yes.
Similarly, for younger children, I just wanted to know, see, when you have illustrations as well, that again you already have a picture in mind
Yes.
of the person.
Yes.
Like if you read Peppa Pig and the family is always there in that
Yes.
series. So till what age is it okay to have illustrated books as against non-illustrated? Because I have a 5-year-old who does all this with illustrated books.
Okay.
But how long and at what stage does one change over into something like an Enid Blyton and Mallory Towers and going to school with that?
Okay, great question. And fortunately, in the years since so the publishing in India itself, when it started after 1957, since then it's evolved a lot. And I'm very glad that you asked it the question, so I can actually show you the books, because there is a definite grading by which books are produced. So the first and the youngest readers are what we call for the books called picture books. And just like the name suggests, you can see the book cover, you can see the size, and you can see the ratio of the illustration and the text. So these stories, if you look at it, they work primarily because of a combination of the pictures and the words. So this story would be, I think, maybe 350 to 500 words, which is like a really short story. And they do have a lot of illustrations. At this point, like I said, the child is still young enough not to really have the imagination to come up with their own pictures, which is why the pictures are provided. But if you see, they do something very interesting. They use pictures which are set in recognizable words for children. So the themes of these books also are rarely about space travel, because the child cannot fathom the sense of what is space and people traveling there. But they can be about trains, they can be about buses, they can be like this, set in the house. Children love looking at the little details. They'll say, oh, look, there's a bed, and they'll see that there is an almirah here, the old fashioned kind that people used to have. And when I show them the kitchen particularly, I show them the kitchen here, and I ask them, how do you know it's a kitchen? And they're able to identify it because of the recognizable markers which they've seen in their houses. So at this point, the themes of the books also are set in very recognizable backgrounds. This one, which I showed the students yesterday, is set in the kitchen. You can see it right from the cover, because it is about a mother making the rotis and giving the child a ball of dough to play with, and then he makes animals with it, and what happens. So again, very relatable story, and I've had scores of parents who come and tell me, and that tone is like as if I had a spy camera in their houses and I knew what was happening and I wrote a story about it. Because it is a universal thing. It is culturally something that we all recognize. And they say, ma'am, exactly this thing happens in our house. And we do this every single day when we are making rotis. So at this age, the illustrations do half the storytelling. They work with the text and they bring it out. Once a child becomes a reader on his own, an independent reader, what we like to call, you will see that even the font size matters. You will see that the font size is bigger. The story is 5,000 words long. It has illustrations, but smaller ones. Okay, and this particular book is quite innovative because it actually encourages children to color the pictures and make their own stories, which is what they are ready to do. Even the pictures are very general kind, simply because by this age, children are imagining things on their own. They are able to come up with their own ideas there. When they become confident readers, again, age wise, if you look at it, the books, the publishers suggest 10 plus. So the length of the books also go up. So you started with about 500 to 1,000 words picture books. This one is about 5 to 7,000 or maybe 10,000 at the most. This is 25,000 words. And you will see that here the illustrations aren't that many. And this particular book has illustrations because this is the one I was telling you about, animals in wars. So we are talking about a culture that they are not familiar with. So they did need a little bit of guidance with that. But even otherwise, the pictures are very few and far between. For 25,000 words, there would be, I think, about 14 or 15, which is very, very few compared to the rest. Okay, so this is how the progression of reading competencies is charted. That the pictures become fewer, so that children have the freedom then to let their own imagination free to imagine what they want to say.
But there is a trend now also that you have graphic novels.
Yes.
So Shakespeare, as you would have read it, now comes in a graphic novel,
Yes.
which is like very few pages.
Yes.
So is that bringing down the reading quality itself, or is it helping non-readers to gain into reading?
So this argument has been made. For example, if you look at Amar Chitra Katha, which started in 1979, which started with the idea that the publisher wanted to introduce readers to the figures from Indian mythology. So the first book was Krishna, and I discussed this yesterday, where I talked about how it was making stories easily available in a culture. You have to look also at the context. In a culture where nuclear families were becoming the norm, which meant that there were no grandparents to pass on these stories, which many of us grew up with, where you had the grandparents telling. So there's definitely a school of thought which thinks that reading is going down with graphic stories. But I think that in certain cases it can be read. I would not advise starting with graphic books, because once you get a child reading those graphic stories, they're so easy. You don't even have to read the text. The pictures will do the telling for you. But I would say that if you already have a child who has started reading, then the graphic novel opens up many more texts which can be translated into an easy understanding for children. So the graphic thing is like Amar Chitra Katha again has brought out now stories about well-known, rather lesser-known freedom fighters, especially women freedom fighters. Which it's difficult to even find books about them. So that way, if you look at it, what they are doing is interesting. It's getting them started on this, and then they can go and look up the information. See, even with this book, where I talked about the world wars or the different wars. My intent was not to really tell them about the wars. I only provided the context in which these events occurred, and I hope that children will then go looking for more information. That is it. So they start as the doors and the windows, right? After that, they do the research and hopefully read more, seek out books. Yes.
Thank you. Nice talk. I have a couple of questions. Uh, I also have a 5-year-old, and she's currently in a state where I read her books. We
Yes.
read her books, and that's fine. She likes all these sketchbooks and the books, illustrative books and everything. But one day, she also got hands on one of these Geronimo Stilton kind of
Yes.
handles. So those are like came from teenage.
Those are the lazy reading ones I was
Correct.
talking about.
Correct, but it has very nice pictures, colorful
Yes.
text, and she likes it. If I read a chapter or two, she likes. She in fact finished one book, a couple of books as well. So my question is, what she doesn't understand the whole world that the story builds, but she has it's a very high curiosity about that kind of world. Then once you read it out, then there are thousands of questions that follows. We are okay with it, but the point is, my question is that what drives kids to read the thing which is kind of more complex for their own understanding. Right? The simple books are easier for them to understand, but against these teenager level books which are very complicated, the world building is far more complicated. What is their understanding of what drives the kids to read
Peer
that?
pressure.
I don't think she has a peer pressure.
No, it's not just peer pressure because she's very young, but there's definitely, so you obviously have a child who's fallen in love with words. Okay, and if you look at the example I gave of myself when I was reading Enid Blyton, which was again culturally and in terms of the difficulty level was far beyond what any child would have read at that age. But you kept going and you kept reading it. There's no negative impact to it. You have a great reader on your hands already.
We are happy that
What you need to do is to give her books.
Yeah. We do try to offer it.
Yeah, so that especially the your Geronimo Stilton one.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
there are hundreds, and then now there's a Thea Stilton also, like a
Yeah.
sister also, which is like adding to this thing. So what you need to do is find other books
Yeah.
and divert her into reading this. See, one of the things with children who read beyond their age is also that what do they take from it? For example, you will find lots of kids boasting. They come and boast to me. Their parents also have boasted to me. My child reads Harry Potter. Personally, I think that the first 3 Harry Potters were fun. But after that, with my own son, I did not allow him to read the 4th one. I thought it was very dark. I did not allow him to read it till he was 11 or something. So now, this is because. And there are children younger than him who had already read all of them. They read it because the words are there. But what does it mean to them? How much of that darkness is communicated to them? Every child is different. So for example, you need to really, with your child, really need to see that how is she going to react to these things? If there is death in a book, do you want to give that book to her?
Yeah, my second question was pertaining to that. You talked about violence, war, and things. And also there is a gradation of the way the violence is described.
Yes.
So, where do you draw the boundary? What is age appropriate for what age? How do you decide?
So that is exactly why I started by saying every child is unique. The thing is, if you know that your child is imaginative, okay, and actually can imagine things, I would strongly suggest that you vet the books before you give them to her.
Yeah.
Right?
way to,
Yeah, especially as she gets older, because the books are going to come from school as well.
Right.
They are going to definitely come from school, from people who are not, maybe as alert to these nuances as you as a parent are. So the other sort of comforting thing is children only take away as much as they are equipped to deal with. So for example, I have the series of books about a plump girl named Apurva, and there are 4 books about her, and they are again, a lot of adult women wrote to me or told me that reading this made me realize that that they went through body shaming as a plump child, and they wished that they had read this book at that time. It would have helped them. Some students also, some children, girls also came and told me. But I have a little scene in that in which Apurva actually witnesses her distant uncle trying to sexually abuse her older sister. And it's just 2 or 3 sentences in that, and she sort of rushes in. She also doesn't understand what is happening, but she rushes in, and her main idea is to rescue her sister, and she does it. Now the boys who read it didn't know what it meant, but the girls who read it told me, "Ma'am, what Apurva did was right. She fought." To say that if the the theme even of violence is handled in an appropriate manner, children will only take away what they are equipped to deal with at that moment. That is why books which are read later again, they come up with they throw up new meanings with each reading. So that is, if I hope sort of answers your question about this. Anyone else who would anything, it can be an observation and it can be Marathi also. The only reason I speak in English is because of years of thinking in that, and also because it comes far more this thing. But yes, Marathi also is yes.
माझी शाळा आहे 5वी ते 10वीचं युनिट. तर 5वी 6वीच्या विद्यार्थ्यांना वाचन सवयी कशा डेव्हलप करू शकतो, आपण विकसित करू शकतो, कारण ही मुलं त्यांचे पेरेंट्स लक्ष देत नाही त्यांच्याकडे आणि एकदम स्लम एरियातली मुलं त्या शाळेमध्ये शिक्षण घेतात.
मग अशा पोरांना ना, जे मी सांगितलं आधी की जे एज बँडिंग आहे ते अगदी तुम्ही बिलकुल त्याच्याकडे लक्ष न देऊन, जसे हे पुस्तक आहे, ह्या पुस्तक आहे, हे जे पिक्चर बुक्स आहेत, तर अशाही पुस्तकांनी तुम्ही सुरुवात करू शकता आणि तुम्ही म्हणजे त्यांना ते रेलेव्हेंट करायला हवं की ह्यांच्या कॉन्टेक्स्टला कसं हे रेलेव्हेंट आहे, इवन इफ इट इज लाईक अ डिस्कशन. आता हे जे पुस्तक आहे, हे व्हॉट शॅल आय मेक, तर हे मला ॲक्च्युली एका खेड्यातल्या एका टीचरनी मला म्हटलं की ताई मी ही पुस्तक घेतली आणि मी ही वाचली माझ्या पोरांना, म्हणजे मी स्टार्ट केली. तो म्हणे ती सुरुवातच केली आणि मुलं म्हणे की अरे ह्याच्यात तो एक पोरगा आहे आणि तू स्वयंपाकघरात आहे, तो स्वयंपाक कसा करतोय. तर आता हे डिस्कशन, इन्स्टेड ऑफ टॉकिंग अबाउट द बुक, ते डिस्कशन असं झालं की जेंडर्ड रोल्सच्या बाबतीत, की म्हणजे पोरींनी स्वयंपाक करावा का, की मुलं पण करू शकतात. पण तो म्हणे चाललं, कारण की ॲटलिस्ट इट गॉट देम थिंकिंग. आणि देन तिथून मग तुम्ही आणखीन अशी पुस्तकं शोधू शकता की सपोज आता जेंडर्ड रोलचं आहे, तर तुम्ही मग आणखीन अशी पुस्तकं शोधू शकता ज्यात बायकांनी काही असं केलंय काम किंवा पुरुषांनी स्वयंपाक केलाय. तर अशी पुस्तकं विच आर रेलेव्हेंट, विच आर थॉट प्रोवोकिंग, बट विच विल डेफिनेटली गेट देम क्युरियस, की ना आज मी अशी पुस्तक आणली आहे ज्याच्यामध्ये की तुम्ही विचार पण नाही करू शकत एका पोरीनी असं काम केलंय. मग देन दे आर क्युरियस, दे वॉन्ट टू नो मोर. तर असं करून म्हणजे अगेन इट इज समथिंग जे अगदी कस्टमाइज करावं लागेल तुम्हाला, कारण की असे काही स्टँडर्ड काही हे नाही आहे. द ओनली थिंग आय कॅन से इज की तुम्ही जितकं म्हणजे त्यांचे इंटरेस्ट बघून आणि मग त्याच्यावरनं यू कॅन डिसाईड व्हॉट काइंड ऑफ स्टोरीज यू वॉन्ट टू रीड टू देम.
Ma'am, thank you. The session was very interactive and very nice. Ma'am, I feel that you spoke more about children reading habits, but I feel children reading, even the adults, even the seniors, like postgraduate, undergrads, and these students also don't develop that. So, can you just share one practical technique where student of any age can start reading and we can sustain it in the long run? Any practical where we can tell our students how can we. Now I am working in a college, not in a school setup. So how can I, and I find there even the PG students are not able to remember things or present before the audience whatever they have read, or they are just skimming. There's a surface reading. So how can we develop a balanced reading habit for any, or for the specifically for the college students? I wanted to ask.
So the reason I talk about children is, one is I have worked extensively with children. I have written for children, and I think that children are still listening to us. So when you have them, when you get them from a very young age, you really get to mold them. Adult, I mean they're already adult. Let me tell you also that between the 3, I do sessions for children for all of these ages. Anytime I have a new book out, I have to do some events. The ones which are around the picture books are the most heavily attended. You know why? Because the children don't come on their own. The parents get them ready, put them in the car or whatever, and bring them there. And the funniest part is that these children are wandering about doing other things, and the parents enjoy the storytelling simply because they truly lose themselves in it, simply because for the last 25 years no one has ever told them a story, and we all like listening to stories. So what I'm trying to get to is, by the time you come to this level, there are sessions which have been cancelled because there were no sign-ups. Children who come to the age of 8 or 9 without reading, they have already made up their minds what they want to do, and they will not listen to parents, or they will argue so much. All parents can totally, sort of relate to that. They will argue so much that I don't want to spend an afternoon listening to something about a book or whatever. So it's not impossible, but it is definitely difficult to get such children into reading simply because the world today is so full of distractions. You cannot blame them. There are distractions. By this age, they've already decided they want to play, they want to hang out with their friends, or they want to look at their phones. So when it comes to the much older children, unless they are very, very determined, unless they are motivated to improve their quality of life, unless they realize how this is holding them back, it becomes really difficult. If such children come to you, what you can do is maybe have like a little book club where you decide on a book, and again there you will have to start with very straightforward books, and then have them read it and come and discuss it. The problem I have with book clubs like this is that it becomes too much like an assignment. Then the fun is going out of it. But if you are desperate and if they are eager to do it, then a book club is terrific. It's a great way to do it. Or you could tell them by going and to go and spend time in a children's library. Like again, don't have certain expectations that they should only read books meant for adults. If they're reading, that is enough. So you can take them and take them to tell them to go to a library and read there. My parents live in Nagpur and they have a neighbor who told my mother की माझं एवढं वय झालं, मला जे करायचं होतं मी केलं, फक्त एक इच्छा राहिली, मला इंग्लिश बोलायची इच्छा होती आणि ते काही बोलणं नाही झालं. So my mother said, why don't you speak to me? And so this Kaku would speak to her every day. And if they couldn't meet, she'll call her on the phone and they would talk. And then when I went there, she came and we were talking. So I said, Kaku, let me give you some books to read. And I gave her, because most of my books are at my parents' place. And she told me ki मला 2-3 दिवस लागतील, चालेल का वगैरे. I gave her these books. She came back next day and she said, I read them so quickly. And this lady who doesn't even read the newspaper has actually worked her way through all of my books and read them. And it is only because she herself is personally determined ki मला English बोलायचं आहे. And I am going to master this. She's read all of them. We had a discussion on which ones she liked. She told me I like this one the best. I have a retelling of Gora by Rabindranath Tagore. She told me I like this the best because it is this. She gave me the reasons why. And I think this, she must be in her 70s. For her to want to read at this, and she wants to read with that specific purpose that I want to learn English. So I think when children or even adults, when they come with that determination, then there is definitely, it becomes a little easier for us to do that.
आमच्याकडे एक पेपर शिकवला जातो आणि थँक्स टू डॉक्टर कुंभार सर, आमचे रिटायर्ड सिनियर प्रोफेसर, who started that paper, Readers Advisory Service. I was not involved with it, but then when I become head of the department, then we were looking, we asked sir, he was busy. So the paper is now teaching Pange sir, and his experiences are really different. And your question, I want to relate and want to talk to sir, because he made these students, master degree student, to read. And I want some of them to talk about it. Sir,
let them talk.
who want to talk? Vaishnavi? Because तुझा जो क्वेश्चन होता ना की या मुलांना कसं वाचायला लावायचं, तर सरांनी ते करून दाखवलं, अगदी शक्य करून दाखवलं. आणि आता ते म्हणतायत की, म्हणजे मला येऊन म्हणाले मॅडम आम्हाला आता खूप वाईट वाटते की आमची 4थी सेमिस्टर आहे, आम्हाला अजून म्हणलं आता थांबू नका पण इथून पुढे सुरुवात करा. आणि ते शक्य झालं ह्या बॅच बरोबर. आणि मला सरांना त्याच्याबद्दल खूप बिग हँड टू सर ॲक्च्युली, कारण ही मेड दॅट. आणि चिल्ड्रन्सचं तर मॅडमनी खूप सुंदर सांगितलं आपल्याला. आणि कुंभार सर आमचे खूप ह्याच्यावर काम करत असतात. आणि जेव्हा हा पेपर शिकवायची वेळ तेव्हा आपण म्हटलं अजून काही ॲक्टिव्हिटीज करू या निमित्ताने डिपार्टमेंटला. सो आम्ही मॅडमना पहिलं बोलवलं. मला वाटतं ह्या मुलांमध्ये सरांनी मला इतके प्रयोग सांगितले की त्यांनी ह्या मुलांबरोबर केलेत की मला प्रश्न असतो की सर येणार आहेत का आज, आम्ही सगळे आलोय. म्हणजे असं पण रेअर व्हायला लागलं, नवीन व्हायला लागलं. फर्स्ट इयरच्या मुलांनाही हा जरा धडा आहे आणि त्यांनाही सर शिकवणार आहेत. तर तुमचा एक्सपिरियन्स सांगा की तुम्ही वाचत होतात नव्हतात, काय झालं. म्हणजे मी ते बघतीये त्यांचं ट्रॅव्हल एकाच सेमिस्टरमध्ये, ते 4th. म्हणजे मला असं वाटलं हे आधीच केलं असतं तर जरा अजून फरक पडला असता. वैष्णवी
मॅम,
समोर येऊन बोलायची सवय नाहीये, पण बोलते मी 2 शब्द. वाचनाची सवय तर नव्हती मला, पण जेव्हा सर लेक्चर घ्यायला लागले, म्हणजे 3rd सेमिस्टरला आम्ही पण सरांचे एवढे लेक्चर केले नव्हते, ते समजायचं नाही. आणि आता या सेमिस्टरला आम्ही सरांची वाट बघत राहतो, सरांना कॉल करतो, सर तुम्ही लेक्चर कधी घेणार काय. आणि सरांनी असाइनमेंट दिली होती, पुस्तक वाचायचं आणि त्याच्यावरती तुम्ही स्वतःच्या मनानुसार काहीतरी लिहा. म्हणून मी एक पुस्तक वाचलेलं होतं, होम वुड माय चीज म्हणून, आणि मी लगेच असाइनमेंट लिहिली आणि सरांकडे दिली. सरांनी ती वाचली, सरांना आवडली. नंतर बाकीच्यांनी पण लिहायला सुरुवात केली आणि सरांनी हळूहळू मला पुस्तकं सजेस्ट करत गेले की तू आता हे पुस्तक वाच, हे पुस्तक वाच. त्याप्रमाणे सरांनी मला मॉर्निंग मिरॅकल म्हणून पुस्तक दिलं आणि ते मी पूर्ण वाचलं. तर त्या पुस्तकामध्ये पहाटे उठून वाचनाचे फायदे, पहाटे लवकर उठून तुम्ही व्यायाम करणं, हे सगळ्या गोष्टी इन्क्लूड होत्या. तर ते सरांना मी सांगितलं, सर मी पुस्तक वाचल्यापासून सकाळी लवकर उठायला लागली आणि सगळ्या गोष्टी तशा फॉलो केल्या. तर 1 महिना होत आला आणि मी ते म्हणजे माझं रुटीन चेंज झालं, सगळ्या गोष्टी व्यवस्थित झाल्या. तर वाचनाचे खूपच फायदे आहेत, तुम्ही पण वाचलं पाहिजे. जास्त नाही बोलून. थँक्यू सर, थँक्यू सो मच.
थँक्यू वैष्णवी. आणि खरं तर हा मंच मला त्याच्यासाठीच करायचा होता की जे वाचत नाहीयेत त्यांनी वाचायला सुरुवात करावी, कारण हा प्रयोग सरांनी केलाय. अजून बोलायचंय का पाटील? हे तुम्ही ना आता घाबरू नका आणि काहीच हे करायचं नाही, हे करा. आणि मलाही ना 3ऱ्या-4थ्या सेमिस्टर मधला हा बदल या मुलांच्यातला फार चांगला वाटतोय, जो आम्ही आधी करू शकलो नाही. थँक्यू सर.
हॅलो. आम्ही जसं वैष्णवीने सांगितलं की आम्ही 3rd सेमिस्टरमध्ये सरांचे लेक्चर वगैरे केलं. मी अक्षरशः जेव्हा 4थं सेमिस्टर सुरू झालं आणि सरांना तोपर्यंत आमचे नाव माहिती नव्हतं. 3rd सेमिस्टर तरी आमचे नाव माहिती नव्हते सरांना. आम्ही एकही लेक्चर केलं नव्हतं सरांचं. आणि नंतर जेव्हा एक प्रोग्राम झाला इथे पोलीस इव्हेंट आपला, तिथे सरांसोबत तेव्हा आमचं नाव कळालं. त्याच्यानंतर सरांचे आम्ही लेक्चर करायला लागलो. त्यात सरांनी वेगवेगळे इव्हेंट घेतले, बुक रिडिंगचे वगैरे. त्यानंतर छोटे ॲक्टिव्हिटीज जसं की काही म्हणजे नक्कल करून दाखवणे वगैरे, असं तसं छोट्याशा त्यात असे इंटरेस्ट येत गेले आम्हाला लेक्चरमध्ये. आणि त्यामुळे आम्हाला परत सरांनी बुक्स वगैरे दिले आम्हाला वाचण्यासाठी. त्याच्यामुळे आमची वाचण्याची आवड पण निर्माण झाली.
थँक्यू सो मच. आणि सगळ्यात मोठा फीडबॅक वाटायचं बोलायचं कोणाला अजून? तुम्ही ना अजिबात लाजू नका, कारण दिस इज अ प्लेस वेअर वी हॅव एक्सपर्ट्स. रविशांत, की तुम्हाला ना एक्सपर्ट गायडन्स लगेच मिळेल. तुम्ही काही चुकत असाल, काही करायचं असेल किंवा तुम्ही केलेले प्रयोग काही सांगायचे असतील तर.
मला सरांच्या लेक्चरबद्दल सांगायचं आहे की आमचा पहिला जो 3rd सेमिस्टरचा आम्ही लेक्चर रेग्युलर करत होतो, तर त्याच्यामध्ये सायन्स अँड टेक्नॉलॉजी लायब्ररीशिप हा सब्जेक्ट होता. पूर्ण ज्या PPT होत्या ना, त्या सगळ्या अशा थेरॉटिकल होत्या आणि जेवणानंतर सरांचा तास असायचा. तर पहिल्या म्हणजे लेक्चरवर आलो ना आम्ही, तर एक 10 मिनिटं लेक्चरला लक्ष लागायचं. नंतर पूर्ण सगळे आम्ही झोपेतच की सर काय शिकवतात, काय नाही, डेटा बद्दल शिकवतात. पण ते महत्त्वाचं होतं, पण तेव्हा लक्ष नाही दिलं. पण आता जे सरांचे लेक्चर होतात ट्रेडिंग ॲडवायझरी सर्व्हिसचे, तर त्या लेक्चरमध्ये ना असं बोर व्हायला होतच नाही. पूर्ण लेक्चरमध्ये व्हिडिओ असतात, त्याच्यानंतर काही यूट्यूबचे लिंक्स असतात, कोणाचे टॉक्स असतात किंवा एखादं कोट असतो. मग त्या कोटबद्दल सर म्हणतात की तुम्ही फक्त बघा आणि तुम्हाला जे वाटतंय ते लिहा. पण जेव्हा ॲक्च्युअल जो 3rd पर्सन आहे तो सांगतो ना त्याचा अर्थ, तेव्हा कळतो की नाही हा वेगळा अर्थ आहे. म्हणजे ह्याच्यातून वेगळं काहीतरी सांगायचं आहे आणि आपण वेगळं घेतो. पण त्याचे जसं तुम्ही म्हटलं की कोणती एखादी गोष्ट आहे, पण त्या गोष्टीकडे बघण्याचा प्रत्येकाचा पॉईंट ऑफ व्ह्यू वेगळा असतो. तसं तर मग ते सरांनी इन्क्लूड केल्यामुळे ना आम्हाला तो सब्जेक्ट अजून आवडायला लागला. आणि आता म्हणजे बाकी पेपरला कसं टेन्शन असतं की किती सिलेबस आहे, किती पाठ करायचं आहे, एवढं पाठ करायचं आहे, शॉर्ट आन्सर आहेत, असं आहे. ते सरांच्या विषयात असं आहे की त्याचं काही टेन्शनच येत नाही की हा बाबा तो शिकतोय ना, आम्ही बजच फक्त शिकतोय, असं आहे तो सरांचा सब्जेक्ट. आणि त्याच्यामध्ये ना सरांनी त्या दिवशी एक लेक्चर घेतलं होतं. तर त्या लेक्चरमध्ये एक होतं की एक कोट होता, घनी गई थोडी रही यूं ना पल पल जाए, एक पलक के कारण यूं ना जन्म गवाए, यूं ना गलत लगाए, असं ते वाक्य होतं. म्हणजे अशी ती कोट दुआ होता. तर त्या दुआतून आपल्याला अर्थ वाटतं की काय आहे ना, की काहीतरी वेगळं असेल. पण ती जी स्टोरी होती त्या स्टोरीमध्ये 3 अँगल होते. एक राजकुमार, त्यानंतर एक राजकुमारी होती, त्यानंतर तो राजा होता, तो साधू होता. पण प्रत्येक त्या एका दुह्यानी त्या 4 जणांचं आयुष्य बदलतं. असं म्हणजे एक दुहा पण तुमचं आयुष्य बदलू शकतं. त्यामुळे सामूहिक पुस्तक तर किती बदलू शकतं हे आम्हाला म्हणजे त्या सब्जेक्टमधून कळालं. सो थँक्स फॉर द म्हणजे उद्या जर आम्ही लायब्ररियन जरी झालो ना तरी पण लायब्ररियनमध्ये ह्या बाकी गोष्टी ज्या आहेत मॅनेजमेंट वगैरे ते सगळं आहे, पण एक कोर लायब्ररियन जो असतो की वाचायचं का किंवा स्वतः वाचायचं का आणि दुसऱ्यांना का वाचायला लावायचं, तर हे आम्हाला या सब्जेक्टमधून जास्त समजलं.
थँक्यू रमेशा. आणि अजून एक एक्सपिरियन्स मला शेअर करण्यासाठी मी सरांना बोलवणार आहे, कारण हा पेपर जेव्हा सरांना दिला ना तेव्हा मला तो सरांना द्यायचाच होता खूप दिवसांपासून, कारण सरांचं अफाट वाचन म्हणण्यापेक्षा त्यांचा वर्किंग एक्सपिरियन्स जयकर लायब्ररीतल्या 5 लाख पुस्तकांचा, आणि ते जेव्हा लायब्ररियन होते तेव्हा त्यांचं शिफ्टिंग टू अनदर न्यू बिल्डिंग झालं आणि अनेक पुस्तकं ती शिफ्ट केली. आम्ही त्यांच्याबरोबर शिफ्टिंगसाठी होतो, म्हणजे मदत करत होतो मुलांना घेऊन, एकाकडे 10 पुस्तकं पुढे पुढे न्यायची. ते करत असताना ती पुस्तकं जेव्हा हातातनं पुढच्याकडे जायची ना तेव्हा कधी कधी माझ्या हातात जास्त वेळ थांबायचं, कारण मी ते बघत बसायची काय येते, आणि मग पुढची मुलं चला चला मॅडम पुढं नंतर वाचा, असं करत करत ते जेव्हा त्यातनं अनेक गेले, मग मला नंतर लक्षात आलं की सरांनी हा जो उपक्रम सांगितला की मुलांना घे मदतीला, घेऊया आपण, आणि त्यावेळेला ते केलं. नंतर हा पेपर जेव्हा शिकवायची वेळ आली तेव्हा सरांनी मला पण 10 वेळा थँक्स म्हटलं की शुभदा तू हा पेपर मला दिलास ना, माझ्यात किती बदल झाला. तर तो मला त्यांचे, कारण आत्ता ते त्यांचा छोटा 2 वर्षाचा नानूला सांभाळतात आणि त्याच्याबरोबर अनेक प्रयोग करतायत ते, आणि ह्या मुलांबरोबर म्हणजे 2 वेगळ्या वयाची मुलं ते सांभाळतात आहेत. तर त्यांचा एक्सपिरियन्स त्याच पुस्तकांकडे बघायचा, आणि त्यांची खूप सुंदर डायरी आहे. त्यांनी खूप जयकरमध्ये काम करत असल्यापासून कुठलंही पुस्तक आलं ना लायब्ररियन म्हणून, जे मी पण शिकते त्यांच्याकडून, की ते नोंद करतात आणि त्याच्याबद्दल लिहून ठेवतात की ह्या पुस्तकातलं काय महत्त्वाचं आहे. त्यांची ती डायरी, ते म्हणले तू जेव्हा हा पेपर मला शिकवायला सांगितलास ती डायरी इज माय बायबल फॉर दिस कोर्स. आणि आम्ही इमॅजिनही केलं नाही तसा तो पेपर फुलत गेला, आणि त्याच्यात टेक्नॉलॉजी पण आणली आहे सरांनी, की टेक्नॉलॉजीमुळे वाचन कमी वगैरे काही होत नाही असं त्यांनी चांगलं सांगून दिलं. तर सर तुमचा एक्सपिरियन्स.
नमस्कार. आता मॅडम म्हटल्या म्हणून थोडंसं बोलतो. एस्पेशली खरं म्हणजे हा पेपर बनसोडे सर आणि कुंभार सरांनी जो तयार केला, म्हणजे सिलेबस तयार केलं, त्यामुळे त्यांचे पहिला सगळं आभार मानायचे, कारण हा उत्तम पेपर तयार केला. हा एक पहिला भाग. दुसरा भाग म्हणजे नगरकर मॅडमनी मला तो शिकवायला दिला, त्याच्याबद्दल त्यांचे आभार. आणि तिसरे आभार माझ्या विद्यार्थ्यांचे, कारण त्यांच्याकडून मी खूप शिकलो. म्हणजे आता ही जी म्हटली रविशा की आपण जेव्हा लेक्चर घेतो आणि माझं 2:30 नंतर लेक्चर होतं, जेवून यायचे ते कधी कधी सांगायचे सर आम्ही खूप उत्तम जेवले आज, जिलेबी खाल्ली, काय काय खाल्लंय, आणि झोप येते. आमचा हा करण सर्वात पाठीमागं बसतो आणि झोपतो. तर मी करणला म्हटलं फक्त एवढंच की करण फक्त तू वर्गात ये, नाही पाठी नंतर घेतो ना पाठ. तर म्हटलं करण तू ये पण फक्त वर्गात बस. म्हणजे मी असं सांगायचा नेहमी प्रयत्न केला की तुम्ही ठीक आहे झोपलात तरी चालेल वर्गामध्ये, पण तुमच्या सबकॉन्शियस माइंडमध्ये मी काय सांगतो ते जात राहील. म्हणजे तुम्ही ऐकत राहताय, झोपलात तरी तुमच्या कानावर काहीतरी पडत राहील आणि तुम्ही ऐकत राहा. तर अशा पद्धतीने ही मुलं, आणि मग मला लक्षात आलं की अरे हे झोपतायत बरं का, तर आपल्यामध्ये बदल केला पाहिजे. म्हणजे मग याचा अर्थ असं मुलं झोपतायत म्हणजे माझं लेक्चर इंटरेस्टिंग नाही असं मला वाटायला लागलं. आणि मग जशी रविशा म्हणजे तसं मग मी त्याच्यात खूप बदल केले. आणि विशेष म्हणजे हा पेपर जेव्हा शिकवायचा वेळ आली मला रीडर्स ॲडव्हायझरी सर्व्हिस, त्याच्यामुळे मी ठरवलं की याच्यामध्ये पूर्ण बदल करायचे. मग आता हे मॅडमने जसं सांगितलं, ही मुलं आहेत ना, इलिस्ट्रेशन सगळं सांगितलं मी, इलिस्ट्रेटिव्ह केलं सगळं. एकच कन्सेप्ट असेल, एक अर्धं थोडंसं त्याचे टेक्स्ट आणि त्याच्याबरोबर चित्र, टेक्स्ट आणि चित्र. पण संपूर्ण पीपीटीमध्ये असं एक पण स्लाईड अशी नसेल की त्याला चित्र जोडलेलं नाही, त्याच्याबरोबर चित्र, म्हणजे लगेच कन्सेप्ट क्लिअर व्हायचे, त्यांना क्लॅरिटी मिळून गेली. आणि त्याच्यानंतर आता मॅडमने कसं सांगितलं की तुम्ही जे अमर चित्रकथाचं सांगितलं, मी काय केलं यांना अमर चित्रकथातली एक कथा वाचून दाखवली, म्हणजे बोललो, कथा सांगितली आधी, आणि त्यांना इमॅजिनेशन करायला सांगितलं की ठीक आहे हवा ही कथा अशी मी तुम्हाला ही स्टोरी सांगितली. आता या स्टोरीनुसार तुम्हाला काय काय वाटलं. चंद्रहास नावाची ती स्टोरी होती, तर ती स्टोरी वाचल्यानंतर यांना सगळे कॅरेक्टर्सबद्दल बोललो मी की काय असेल कॅरेक्टर, कसं असेल सगळं सांगा. आणि त्यांनी त्यांच्या दृष्टीने इमॅजिनेशन केलं की चंद्रहास आहे, त्याच्यात तिथे एक राजकन्या आहे, नंतर तो एक दुष्टबुद्धी नावाचा माणूस आहे यांनी सगळ्या पद्धतीने त्याचं इमॅजिनेशन केलं. आणि मग दुसऱ्या दिवशी मी नंतर ते पुस्तक ॲक्च्युली आणून दाखवलं की हे बघा, हे चंद्रहास, हे अमर चित्रकातलं पुस्तक आहे. आणि मग त्यांना असं वाटलं की अरे आपण दुष्टबुद्धीला असं समजतो, पण तसंच आहे ते. किंवा मग मी त्यांना सांगितले त्या पुस्तकाच्या कव्हर पेजवर त्या चंद्रहासपेक्षा त्या दुसऱ्या याचंच जास्त मोठं फोटो दाखवलेला आहे. तर ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी त्यांनी इमॅजिनेटिव्ह केला. आणि जसं आता हिने ते सांगितलं की घनी गई थोडी रही या मे पल पल जाए, एक पल के कारणे युना जीवन गवाए. एक छोटी एक कहाणी होती असती. त्यांना आधी मी ती स्क्रीनवर दाखवली. म्हणलं हा दोहा आहे, या दोह्याने तुम्हाला काय समजतं सांगा. तर या दोह्यावरून म्हणजे त्यांना काही लक्षात येईना काय आहे ते. मग मी म्हटलं ठीक आहे, त्याच्यावर एक स्टोरी मी तुम्हाला दाखवतो. एक क्लिप होती आणि ती क्लिप त्यांना दाखवली. आणि ही क्लिप दाखवल्यानंतर मला एवढा आनंद वाटला की या मुलांनी मी जे सांगितलं ते घरी पण सांगितलं. म्हणजे घरच्या लोकांना पण सांगितलं की आणि आम्हाला असं शिकवलं जातं आम्हाला या गोष्टींबद्दल. तर थँक्स टू माय ऑल दी स्टुडंट्स इज रिअली, कारण त्यांच्यामुळं मी खूप गोष्टी शिकलो. म्हणजे जेव्हा असं मला नंतर व्हायचं की 4:30 वाजलेत का 5 वाजलेत की 5:30 वाजले, असं आम्हाला कधी म्हणजे वेळेकडे आम्ही पाहिलंच नाही. 2:30 वाजता लेक्चर सुरू झाल्यानंतर ते 5:30 पर्यंत चालायचं, कधी कधी 5:45 पर्यंत पण चालायचं. आणि दे आर व्हेरी इंटरेस्टिंग की त्यांच्यामुळं मी खूप शिकलो. म्हणजे मला शिकायची ही संधी या मुलांच्यामुळं मिळाली. त्यामुळं थँक्स टू ऑल यू स्टुडंट्स, थँक्यू. आणि दुसरी गोष्ट म्हणजे शुभताने जे सांगितलं डायरीबद्दल, मी जी डायरी लिहिलेली आहे ती डायरी खरंच ती महत्त्वाची आहे. कारण मला ज्या पुस्तकं मला जी दिसली आणि मी ती रिलेट करत गेलो. म्हणजे जो टॉपिक शिकवायचा आहे, म्हणजे त्याच्यामध्ये जे फिक्शन आहे, नॉन फिक्शन आहे, सेल्फ हेल्प पुस्तकं आहेत हे, तर ती मला रिलेट करता आली लगेच. की ही जर मुलं म्हटली की सर असं असं आहे, सायन्स फिक्शनबद्दल तुम्ही बोलला, तर सायन्स फिक्शन म्हणजे नेमकं काय असतं, सायन्स फिक्शनचे कोणते प्रकार आहेत, त्याच्यात कुठल्या सिनेमावर कुठे त्याचे झालेले सायन्स फिक्शनची एखादी स्टोरी सांगितली मी त्यांना आणि त्याच्यावर तर लगेच एक क्लिप दाखवली, तर ती लगेच रिलेट होते. म्हणजे सायन्स फिक्शन एक आहे पण त्याच्यामधली ही स्टोरी आहे आणि त्याच्यावरची ती क्लिप आहे. तर ते सगळं असं कॉम्बिनेशन केल्यामुळे तो त्यांना इंटरेस्टिंग झाला आणि त्यांनाच इंटरेस्टिंग नाही झाला तर मला पण इंटरेस्टिंग झाला. सो थँक्यू ऑल स्टुडंट्स.
थँक्यू सो मच. आणि याच्या निमित्ताने अजून बरीच पुस्तकं वाचली जातील किंवा आपण काहीतरी त्याच्यातनं ॲक्टिव्हिटी सुरू करू. आम्ही सेंटरलाही बऱ्याच या गोष्टी, आपल्याबरोबर राय मॅडम आहेत आणि हिंदीच्या प्रोफेसर आहेत. आम्हाला अनेक पुस्तकं त्यांनी वाचून दाखवली आणि ती नुसतीच वाचून नाही दाखवली आमच्या सेंटरला, तर त्याच्याबद्दलचे त्यांनी यांच्या मला वाटतं ह्या CPEच्या मुलांमध्ये जे कामं करतात आपले स्टुडंट आहेत ते आता वाट बघत असतात मॅडम येणार आहेत कधी, आपला वाचायचा प्रोग्राम राहिला आहे. आणि त्यांच्यातही खूप त्यांनी शिकले बरेच. आणि मला वाटतं रोहित इथे आहे, तो पण लिहितो बराच. आणि त्यांच्यातही खूप बदल फक्त वाचनाने आणि आपलं वाचन आणि हर रीडिंग इज डिफरंट. मॅडम तुम्ही थोडंसं बोलावं असं मला वाटतं. कारण त्या स्वतः मोठ्या लेखिका आहेत. त्यांची खूप आणि त्यांचं हिंदी म्हणजे इट्स अ पोएम. ज्यांनी 2 क्रेडिट कोर्स अटेंड केला असेल त्यांचं लेक्चर 2 तास, 2.5 तास, 3 तास असं संपूच नाही असं वाटतं.
थैंक यू श्रद्धा, आप लोग बहुत देर से सुन रहे हैं तो धैर्य खत्म हुआ होगा आप लोगों का. मैम बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, क्योंकि बहुत खूबसूरत ढंग से, बहुत मतलब उसमें एक भी शब्द आप इधर उधर उनका कर नहीं सकते. और मुझे अपने घर के छोटे बच्चे ध्यान आ रहे थे जब मैं बात कर रही थी, हम कहाँ गलतियाँ करते हैं, फिर बाद में हमको लगता है कि पढ़ते क्यों नहीं. तो वो बहुत ही सुंदर ढंग से उन्होंने जो कहा वो भी, और जो अनकहा था वो भी हमने सुना आपका. मैं कहानियों वगैरह बचपन में पढ़ती थी, लेकिन 10वीं तक मैंने कोई पढ़ाई नहीं की थी. पता नहीं कैसे पास हुई, लेकिन गणित में फेल हो गई थी. मेरे पिता की एक इच्छा थी, खाली एक आपको बताती हूँ, उसके बाद फिर माइक सुपुर्द करती हूँ शुद्धा के, कि बच्चों के हाथ में किताब रहनी चाहिए. पिता बहुत पढ़े लिखे नहीं थे. उन्होंने अपने किताब को क्या किया था, उनको 8वीं 9वीं में किताब इतनी बोझ लगने लगी थी. गांव में थे, उन्होंने गड्ढा खोदा, किताब अंदर दफनाई और कलकत्ता भाग गए 15 साल की उम्र में. तो उनके लिए किताब माने दफनाई हुई चीज़ थी. फिर भी उनके दिल में कहीं एक मरी हुई हसरत थी कि उनके बच्चों के हाथ में किताब हो. और उनकी लड़की पढ़ती नहीं थी, फेल हो गई थी गणित में. तो जितने मेहमान मेरे घर में आते थे मेरी इकलौती लड़की है, जितनी बार फेल होगी उतनी बार पढ़ाऊंगा। मतलब ऐसी बेइज्जती कौन करता है अपने बच्चों की? लोग छिपाते हैं, नहीं नहीं तू घबराना मत, तू 10 बार फेल हो। मुझे बहुत चुभने का कि क्या आदमी है भाई। कितना भी कोई आप उनको मना कर देते, देखो बाबू, बाबू बोलते हैं हम लोग, देखो बाबू ऐसे मत करना, कोई भी आएगा तो ऐसे नहीं बताने का, मुझे समझाओ ना, मैं तुम्हारी लड़की हूँ ना। बोले हाँ बच्चा तुम्हें ही समझाऊंगा। फिर कोई आता था, तुमको पता है नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस जैसा इसका दिमाग है, फेल हो गई गणित। तो मुझे ये समझ में आता था कि उनके अंदर ये इच्छा है कि पढ़ना चाहिए। और 1989 में उनकी डेथ होती है, उसके बाद पता नहीं क्या हुआ, मैंने नशे की तरह पढ़ाई की, जैसे नशा लगता है उस तरह से पढ़ना सीखा। तो दो उदाहरण जो मैं अक्सर अपने इन विद्यार्थियों को या सीपी सेंटर के विद्यार्थियों को दिया है, किताबें जीवन बदलती है। एक गांधी जी अनटू द लास्ट नाइट, शायद एक किताब का नाम था, जहाँ से उन्होंने केवल कपड़े ही नहीं बहुत सारी चीज़ें छोड़ी और नई चीज़ें लेकर आगे बढ़े। मुश्किल है उस तरह का होना, लेकिन उस तरह से पढ़ना मुश्किल नहीं है। तो बहुत साधारण थे, हम लोग भी बहुत, एकाएक कोई महान नहीं पैदा होता है, पर किताबें धीरे 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 आपको ऊपर ले जाती हैं। बस इश्क मोहब्बत होती है ना, लड़के लड़कियों से करना इसमें छोड़ दो, थोड़ा हिंसा बहुत हो रही है, किताबों से करना शुरू करो, इंसानों से करना आ जाएगा। तो मोहब्बत गांधी जी ने की। दूसरा एक बच्चा था जो बहुत बदमाशियां करता था, और दुनिया का कोई ऐसा दुर्गुण नहीं था जो उसके भीतर नहीं था। एक दिन उसके हाथ एक किताब लगती है और पता नहीं क्या उसके मन में आता है, और उसने धीरे धीरे केवल उस किताब ने पता नहीं क्या बदलाव किया, तो सब कुछ छोड़ दिया। और उस बच्चे का मंत्र हिंदुस्तान की आज़ादी का मंत्र बना, सरफरोशी की तमन्ना अब हमारे दिल में है, देखना है जोर कितना बाजुए कातिल में है। राम प्रसाद बिस्मिल, और किताब का नाम था सत्यार्थ प्रकाश, दयानंद सरस्वती। तो दो इतने बड़े उदाहरण हमारे सामने हैं कि वो किस तरह से, और बच्चों को नहीं सिखाना है, हम पढ़ना सीखेंगे और सीखने लगेंगे। हमारे हाथ में मोबाइल है और हम उसको बोलेंगे किताब लेके बैठ, हमने अपने समय में पढ़ा था, ऐसा नहीं होता। किताब पढ़ने का कोई समय नहीं होता, किताब पढ़ने का हमेशा बचपना ही होता है, वही लालच होती है वो, क्योंकि किताब मिलते ही हम लोग उलट पलट के देखने लगते हैं। और अभी तो हिंदुस्तान में शायद ही कोई ऐसी जगह बची हो जहाँ किताबों का त्यौहार नहीं होता हो। और मुझे भी, मैं बच्चों वाली किताब पढ़ते वक्त शायद बचपन में हमें जो चीज़ें नहीं मिले, फिर से बचपना जीने की एक आदत है। मुझे बहुत सुविधा से भी बहुत कुछ सीखती हूँ। पांगे सर को तो हमारे विद्यार्थियों ने बहुत पहले बताया था कि आप खाली जाकर कहो कि ये किताब चाहिए, वो इंसान कहीं से भी ढूंढ के, उनको पता रहता था किताबें कहाँ है, कैसी है। सिर्फ लाइब्रेरी का विजिट करते हुए बिना कुछ पढ़े मैंने नेट और सेट दोनों पास किया था। मैं खाली घूमती थी, हाँ ये नाम है, ये किताब है, इस प्रकाशन की है, ऐसी है, पेपर उसी से दिया। क्योंकि इतनी मेमोरी में खाली आप घूम जाओ किताबों के साथ, तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मेलेडी खाओ कुछ जान जाओ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, शिल्पा जी ने मुझे यहाँ आमंत्रित किया, मैंने इतने लोगों को सुना, और हर दिन मेरे लिए एक नया पार्ट होता है। थैंक यू मैम।
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know that she will again do her magic, and always we learn a lot from her lectures every time. Actually, मेरे 2 पहले lectures in 2 credit course were missed. I was busy in some other meeting, and sir introduced me, madam. After so many years staying on the campus, I didn't know her, and उनको जब मैंने पहली बार सुना 2 लेक्चर्स के बाद, तब मैं 2 घंटे तो हिली नहीं, बाद में भी मैं मैच से ही बैठी रही। तो स्टाफ बोले मैडम ख़त्म हुआ है लेक्चर, बट मैं सोचती रही इनका ये, इट इज़ सो वंडरफुल, एंड शी टेल अस सेवरल बुक्स, एंड उनके साथ जो हमने रीडिंग के कुछ किए एक्सपेरिमेंट्स, दोज वेयर स्टिल रिमेंबर फॉर लाइफ टाइम, आई नो, because she not just read, she take us in that character and make us to think. Similar सर ने भी तो वी आर वेटिंग कि अभी हम थोड़ा सा ब्रेक हुआ है, बट वी सिट ऑन द फ्लोर एंड देन रीड, और कोई भी अलग चीज़ है तो वो लेके आती है हमारे पास कि हम करेंगे, एंड आई एम वेरी ग्लैड एंड थैंक्स सर टू मुझे मिलवाने के लिए. सो थँक्यू सो मच, अँड आय होप आपल्याला रीडिंगचं वेगळ्या पद्धतीने शिकायला मिळालं. प्रमोद नायर ज्यांच्यामुळे माझीची ओळख झाली, ज्यांच्याबरोबर मी युनिव्हर्सिटी ऑफ हैदराबादमध्ये UGC केअरच्या प्रोजेक्टनी कनेक्ट झाले होते, तेव्हा माझी या दोघांची ओळख झाली. दोघंही खूप खूप लिहितात. मला वाटतं मी विचारायची खूप वेळेवेळी प्रश्न, तुम्ही स्वयंपाक करता का, जेवता का दोघं, कारण ते इतके लिहितात ना की म्हणजे मला खरंच वाटत नाही की ह्यांच्याकडे काही होतं का नाही. पण मी त्यांच्या घरी गेले आणि तेव्हा पाहिलं तर सगळ्या घरभर फक्त पुस्तकं आहेत, आणि त्यांनी मला सगळं उघडून दाखवलं, हे बघ इथे इतकी पुस्तकं आहेत. कालच तिने मला सांगितलं की आम्हाला ह्या पुस्तकांचं करायचं काय, ॲज अ लायब्ररियन म्हणून तू सांगा मला. पण दॅट इंडिकेट्स की रीडिंगमुळे लाईफ चेंज होतं, आणि मी या दोघांच्याही संपर्कात आल्यामुळे आणि आपल्या या सगळ्या प्रयोगांमुळे खूप बदल झाला. आणि प्रमोद सरांनाही एकदा बोलवणारच आहे आपण. तेव्हा ते नवीन नवीन विषय मुलांना देतात, जसं ग्राफिक मेडिसिन नावाचा एक विषय त्यांनी मांडला होता की ग्राफिक्स थ्रू मेडिसिन कसं शिकवायचं, आणि त्याच्याबद्दल खूप जगात चालू आहे. आणि मला असं नेहमी वाटतं की कोणीतरी हा PhDला लायब्ररी सायन्सच्या मुलांनी घ्यावा विषय. आता मी परत PhD नाही करणार आहे, कारण मला वेगळी कामं थोडी ठरवली आहेत, पण त्याच्यात हा एक विषय घेणार आहे की ग्राफिक्स थ्रू मेडिसिन कसं शिकवलं जातं, किंवा इलिटरेट लोकांना तुम्ही वाचून दाखवून काय फरक पडतो, हा पण एक महत्त्वाचा विषय जो आपण विचार नाही करत. आपण आता लिटरेट लोकांनीच वाचावं असं म्हणतो, पण इलिटरेट लोक खूप आहेत आपल्या देशात अजून, आणि मार्जिनलाइज्ड पीपल आहेत. जसं आम्ही काम करतोय फिमेल सेक्स वर्कर्स बरोबर, की ज्यांना काहीच वाचता येत, त्यांना तुम्ही कसं शिकवाल, हाऊ विल यू डू दॅट, अँड दोज काइंड ऑफ चॅलेंजेस लायब्ररियन्सनी घ्यायला पाहिजे. कारण आपण नुसतंच थेरॉटिकली लिहिण्यात काही अर्थ नाही. लायब्ररी अँड सोसायटी असा पेपर असेल, पुस्तकं असतील, पण आपण जेव्हा ॲक्च्युली तिथे जाऊन काम करू आणि आपलं हे रीडिंगचं त्याच्यामध्ये जेव्हा करू, किंवा वाचून दाखवून काय फरक पडला आहे. कारण मी एक हिस्ट्रीसारखं एक लिहित होते, तेव्हा लक्षात आलं पूर्वी काही लायब्ररीत तास घ्यायचे, वाचून दाखवायचे, आणि ते लायब्ररियन नव्हते खरं तर, नॉट बाय प्रोफेशन लायब्ररियन, कारण तेव्हा लायब्ररियन हा शब्दच नव्हता. त्या काळातलं मी वाचत होते आणि लिहिलं आहे बरंचसं मोठं, मला त्याचं पुस्तक करायचं आहे. आय एम वर्किंग ऑन दॅट, की लायब्ररीज आणि रोल ऑफ लायब्ररियन काय होता हिस्ट्रीपासून आत्तापर्यंत. त्याच्यात वाचताना रिफॉर्मर्सबद्दल जेव्हा वाचत होते, तेव्हा ते लायब्ररियन खाली बसून, अर्थात ते बाहेरच्या देशातलं होतं, त्यामुळे ते थंडीच्या काळात त्या शेकोटीच्या आजूबाजूला बसून वाचून दाखवण्यासाठी, म्हणजे ॲट द एज ऑफ 90 पर्यंत ते शेवटपर्यंत ते वाचून दाखवायचे, आणि त्याचा फरक खूप झाला होता. म्हणजे तेव्हापासून पाहिलं तर वाचनाचं खूप मोठं, मी त्याच्यातलं खूप वाचलं नाही रीडिंगचं तो आहे, पण जे काय पाहिलं आहे ते. आणि त्यामुळे असं वाटलं की लायब्ररियन्सना हा फोकस ठेवून हे लेक्चर ठेवावं, आणि मॅडमनी ते ॲक्सेप्ट केलं. आम्ही बरेच दिवस करत होतो ट्राय की करूया, ते आता ठरवायचंच, आणि त्यामुळे ते ठरवलं. त्यामुळे धन्यवाद नंदिनी ॲक्सेप्ट केल्याबद्दल. धन्यवाद मला सगळ्यांचेच मानायचे. थोडक्यात सरांचे धन्यवाद, ते असतात कायम इथे, बनसोडे सर, नंतर पानगे सर तर आहेत, राय मॅडम ऑलवेज एनकरेज करतात आम्हाला, सगळे स्टुडंट्स आणि CPEचा स्टाफ. काही ऑर्गनाईज करायचं असेल तर मला काहीच बघावं लागत नाही, मी फक्त येते शेवटच्या क्षणाला. त्यांनी सगळं केलेलं असतं. आज मला सकाळी थोडंसं काळजी होती, महेश आमचा नाही आहे, पण असं होत नाही की महेश नाही आहे तर मंगेश नाही आहे, मंगेश काम त्यांना त्यांचं कळलेलं असतं. आज महेश नाही ना, मग हे पुढचं काम आपोआप झालेलं असतं. मला काहीच चिंता करावी लागत नाही की त्यांना आणायला कोण जाणार आहे, मग त्यांचा ब्रेकफास्ट झाला का, मग या सगळ्यातनं मी बाहेर केव्हाच पडले. आणि त्याच्यासाठी थँक्स टू CPEचा सर्व स्टाफ. आणि आम्ही असेच प्रोजेक्ट करतो, आणि CPEला आता पुन्हा आम्ही नवीन ओपनिंग्स येणार आहेत, आणि मला या स्टुडंट्सना तिकडे बघायचं आहे आमच्या. तेव्हा आत्तापासूनच त्यांना आम्ही ट्रेनिंग देतो की ऑर्गनाईज करायचं असेल तर काय करायला पाहिजे, किती गोष्टी बघायला पाहिजे. ऑर्गनाईज करणाऱ्यांनीच त्याच्यात पडलं तर बाकीचं काहीच करता येत नाही, ते पुढं जाणार नाही. त्यामुळे तुमच्या सगळ्यांचे धन्यवाद, आणि थँक्यू फॉर ऑल हेल्प यू आर प्रोव्हाइडिंग. मी फक्त सांगितलं की श्रद्धा आमची लिफलेट तयार 5 मिनिटात, आता ती तिचंच राईटअप करते तयार. आणि ती नंतर रिसोर्स पर्सनला ते परस्पर पाठवते. रिसोर्स पर्सन मग माझ्याकडे फक्त फायनल व्हर्जन, म्हणजे मला आता सांगायला लागत नाही अगं रिसोर्स पर्सनला पाठवलं का, त्यांनी ॲक्सेप्ट केलं का, हा फोटो बरोबर आहे का, ते सगळं करूनच आणलंय मॅडम. त्यामुळे दॅट हेल्प आय नीड, आणि ती अशी जर केली आणि आपण जर अशा पद्धतीने काम केलं तर अनेक इव्हेंट सक्सेसफुल होऊ शकतात. त्यामुळे थँक्यू सो मच, थँक्स अ लॉट अगेन नंदिनी, थँक्यू सो मच. तुम्हाला काही प्रश्न असतील शी इज देअर, त्यांची पुस्तकं तुम्ही बघू शकता, पाहिजे असतील काही तर इथे ठेवलेली आहेत. कारण तिची पुस्तकं मी पण तिने मला एक सेट ऑफ बुक्स दिला होता गिफ्ट, तो आता बरेच आमच्या आजूबाजूची मुलं घेऊन गेली माझ्या घराजवळ राहणारी. आणि मी आले, गाडी लावली, किती मुलं येतात, कधी आपण येऊ रिडिंगला तुमच्याकडे मॅडम, काकू मावशी काही म्हणतात मला, आजी कधी येऊ वाचायला, तुम्ही बोलवतच नाही आम्हाला वाचायला. म्हटलं सगळी पुस्तकं तुम्ही गायब करा आणि मी आता काय वाचायला देऊ तुम्हाला, सगळी पुस्तकं घेऊन गेले ते. मी म्हटलं जाऊ दे, घेऊन जाऊ दे. पण अजूनही मी बघितलं की निदान वाचायचंय हे ती मुलं म्हणतात. त्यामुळे तिच्या पुस्तकांना धन्यवाद, तिची सगळी पुस्तकं त्यांनी घेऊन त्याच्यावर चित्रवित्र काढून मला आणून दिली. त्यामुळे आय एम व्हेरी हॅपी, थँक्स अ लॉट, थँक्यू सो मच फॉर युअर ॲक्टिव्ह पार्टिसिपेशन. आणि बारामतीहून ह्या मॅडम आल्या आहेत, अजून बाकीचे सगळे वेगवेगळ्या डिपार्टमेंटमधून आलेत. थँक्यू सो मच. हा आम्ही रेकॉर्ड केला आहे सेशन आणि तो आम्ही यूट्यूबवर चॅनलवर CPEच्या ठेवणार आहोत, तुम्ही इतरांनाही पाठवू शकता तो. आणि अजून काही सेशन आपण ॲक्च्युली वर्कशॉप्स त्या ज्या घेतात तसाही आमचा प्लॅन आहे काही फ्युचरमध्ये करायचा. थँक्स अ लॉट, थँक्यू.
आ जाओ ना, या इकडे. सांगा.